Hi, we're SOLABROS.com.
And we're answering your questions today. Number one is quality. You know, people, in all aspects, you need to deliver quality because people are paying you for this. And this is your job. Being a musician is my job and my kid's job. So when we're up there on stage performing, we should give our 100% or more. Because, you know, we owe them to the people and to the listeners who patronizes our shows. So for me, you need to give quality in everything. High, I don't know if we're higher. I know a lot of show bands who's higher than our talent fee, especially those bands who penetrated in some of the biggest places in the Philippines or in other countries. So I think in all aspects, we should give our very best, and also we should give our quality music. And also, as a band, we are investing in a lot of things. We invested in a good guitar effects, good microphone system, good keyboards, and everything. So, in one word, we are also investing for this, to have this unique and great sound every night and every performances that we have.
What we really desire as a band, let's just say this is our ultimate goal, is to be able to represent the Filipino musicians that made it into the world stage. There are already bands from the Philippines that made it there and played in one of the biggest music events of all time and even toured all over the world. There are already bands like Valley of Chromewood played at Wacken Festival, and there's Slapshot who has already gained a following all over the world and even toured all over the world. And of course, let's not forget Mr. Arnel Pineda. He had proven through his talent that he was able to go onto the world stage because of how Neil Sean discovered him on YouTube. It really impressed him and wanted him to be the vocalist of Journey. So we want to be one of those musicians as well. I believe we have the talent to do so and the courage to be able to prove ourselves all over the world. Because of the internet, we are showing off our talents, and in a way we were able to prove that we have massive appeal from people all over the world. So that's our ultimate goal, to be able to show the world that we can also make it.
I was saying na hindi naman siguro kasi in our family, or girlfriends, o ano man, we totally understand each other na lahat kami magbe-benefit sa ginagawa namin. And also for the betterment of our future.
Siyempre, by default, family band ang SOLABROS.com, composed of brothers and of course my dad. Kaya mas less ng conflicts ng bawat isa. Pag nagkaroon kami ng mga conflicts or nagkaroon man ng mga difficulties ng bawat isa, eventually naayos din naman. Papalamigin lang muna saglit. After nun, tsaka kami nag-aayos. Pag nagkakaroon ng goals and achievements ng banda, iisa yung direction namin, walang sapawan, wala nga conflicts. Unlike kapag ang banda ay composed of kung sino-sino lang, di naman kayo magkakamag-anak. Kaya yung bawat isa dun may kanya-kanyang goals, like yung isa sapat lang na hindi masyadong detailed ang ginagawa niya, hindi precise. Yung isa naman na ito ay yung pinaka-determined sa kanila. Tapos yung isa nagpaplano na puro biyahe lang ang gusto. Tapos yung isa kung ano lang yung magiging flow ng banda. Kaya kung iisipin mo parang ganong ang attitude ng mga bandmates, magkakaroon talaga ng problema. Kaya yun, ang pinagkaiba ng banda namin sa banda ng iba is ang unity kasi family kami.
Well, actually, I don't really see a time limit because for starters, magkakapatid kami and I'm also playing with my dad. We're a family of musicians. It's already a given that a family that stays together plays together. So as far as I'm concerned, we may be playing for as long as we live. It may be a continuous process because we still have little siblings that could follow in our footsteps, or when we're settled down and eventually got married, we may actually have children that will follow in our footsteps. So it may be an eternal cycle.
Definitely yes. My first love is being a musician. And other than that kasi, kung isipin mo, napaka-fictional. Dahil sa bata pa ako, syempre, yung sinasabi ko na yun is pagiging superhero. Other than that, musician lang nakita ko gusto ko talaga maging. Wala nang iba pa. And currently, I'm studying biopsychology. I'm a freshman in JRU. It's a 4-year course. Kailangan din natin yun kasi sa Filipino culture, hindi pwedeng wala kang hawak na degree. Kaya even though na may chosen career na kami, which is pagiging musician, kailangan namin magtapos pa rin ng college kasi requirement siya sa Philippine culture.
Dapat lang, para hindi isipin ng mga tao na mga musicians ay mga low-profile civilians. Di naman po tama yun. Ako po ay nagtatapos ng BSIT second year, and si Daddy nakapagtapos ng BS Psychology, and same din kay Cruz. Kaya kailangan namin ng degree para magkaroon kami ng fallback at hindi rin isipin ng mga tao na musician lang kami. I love cooking. I almost perfect the pizza recipe which my family loves, and I also explore more dishes. Lahat ng mga dishes na pwede kong lutuin, katulad ng last vlog natin, yung tofu sisig, and I hope na makatulong po ako sa inyo. And more cooking videos to come sa mga vlogs natin. And we also play video games. Shane and I play CODM, Call of Duty. Parehas kami nagbubuhatan sa laro, kaya kapag may mga free time kami, talagang naglalaro kami ni Shane na panandalian.
Well, I believe that musical talent can either be influenced, be inherited, or all of the above. There are people who learn to sing when they were very young and it usually comes out naturally. And there are also people who learn certain musical instruments easily in a short amount of time. Kasi nung unang beses na hinawakan yung musical instrument, parang nag-meld na kagad sa mga kamay nila, or kung anumang parts, could be the voice, could be your hands. Parang naturally nag-meld, fits like a glove, as they say. Parang na-develop na siya sa part of you. And that's how you discover your talent. And I also believe that a certain person or media can influence one's talent. Like when you're seeing a singer or a musician on YouTube or on any media like TV or the radio, yun yung isa sa mga paniniwala ko na hindi lang through chance na naging magaling ka as a musician. Meron pa rin talagang outside force na mag-i-influence sa'yo, whether be a person or yung pagiging interested mo sa music as a whole. When you see someone play a musical instrument or sing, then you wanted to be just like them. That's also one of your drives to become a talented musician. And also there's this instance where music can be inherited in a way, especially when your parent is a musician. Kasi nandiyan na sila all your life, kaya nakikita mo lahat ng mga movements nila. Since it's only natural na yung child sinusundan yung galaw ng parents. Tinatry nila i-imitate kung paano sila mag-act as a person or kung ano yung mga ginagawa nila in general. Yun na rin yung isa sa mga mag-i-influence sa'yo. Sila na yung pinaka-given na big influence mo when it comes to music. Since nakikita mo na yung musical background nila at saka yung urge na maging parang sila. Yun yung isa sa mga magdadrive sa'yo to be a talented musician. Kasi the person that's influencing you is already right in front of you. They're already before your eyes. You're already seeing through them who you want to be or what you want to be in the future.
Well, first things first, I mentally prepare myself to do the things. Kahit anong bagay yan, lahat ng bagay. Mapa-music related or kahit chores lang yun ng bahay. Mentally prepare ko muna yung sarili ko. And then after nun, magre-research ako sa internet platforms like YouTube, Facebook, Instagram, minsan sa Twitter. Nanonood ako ng mga rudiments, patterns, drum fills, tsaka yung mga iba pang mga theories. And after nun, kinakomprehend ko yun bawat isa, kung ano yung pagkakaintindi ko. And then, kukuha ko ng drum pad, tatry ko yung patterns and rudiments na naaral ko. Well, usually, ang ginagawa kong exercise sa kamay ko is double strokes, double roll. And gumagamit ako ng metronome para masukat mo kung anong speed ng kaya ng kamay mo. Para mas ma-enhance din kung nagsimula ka sa mababang speed. And after nun, mag-increase. Doon mo malalaman na effective yung exercise ng kamay mo. Well, of course, kita naman sa drumming style ko, si Mike Portnoy, the most overrated influential drummer. Kasi napaka-influential naman talaga ni Portnoy na drummer. Lahat ng ideas niya sa Dream Theater na touch ako eh. Even though nung panahon na nakikinig ako ng Dream Theater, nung bata ako, wala pa akong alam sa drumming or kahit naman musicality. Basta nakikinig lang ako. Nadadala ako ni Portnoy and siya yung isa sa mga nag-influence sa akin na maging drummer. Other than Mike Portnoy yung number 1 para sa akin. Na-influence din ako ng mga drummers na to. Siyempre, drummer ng Avenged Sevenfold, si Jimmy Sullivan, aka The Rev, Lars Ulrich of Metallica, Dave Lombardo of Slayer, of course, the Atomic Clock of Testament, currently in Testament now, si Gene Hoglan. And pagdating sa mga pop music, pero classic din siya, si Jeff Porcaro ng Toto, and syempre, yung mga influences ko, si Neil Peart at tsaka si John Bonham, of course. Syempre, hindi pwede mawala yung idol ko ng classic drummers sa Chicago, si Donny Seraphim. Napaka-underrated niya, pero kung susuriin mo yung mga palo niya sa Chicago, napaka-advanced na ng panahon niya.
Where do I even start? There's so many musicians for me to talk about since my musical library is very vast. Since we play a lot of covers on YouTube, they probably think that's only where my musical taste lasts. I'm gonna mention a few given bands that have already been a big influence to me. There's already Dream Theater, there's of course Metallica. They're always gonna be metal influence for all metal musicians. There's also the band Megadeth, and there's Death Angel, and there's Suicidal Tendencies. All the thrash metal bands I listened to when I was a kid, that's most of my thrash metal library. Before I even got into Dream Theater, that's all I listened to, thrash metal. I also have a lot of influence for modern bands like Incubus and Bring Me the Horizon, Bullet for My Valentine, all the metalcore contemporaries like Periphery. Never forget Avenged Sevenfold. And there are also other prog metal bands that influenced these bands that I mentioned, like Meshuggah, the godfathers of Gent. I got into Gent after listening to Periphery, and then I dug deep listening to Meshuggah. Fun fact, if you're familiar with the Filipino metal band scene, you've heard of this band Sin. They're clearly influenced and inspired by the band Meshuggah. While we're at the topic of the Filipino metal band scene, let me mention a few Filipino thrash metal bands that I've listened to. There's this band called End of Man, there's also Bloodshed, and there's already The Given, Death by Stereo. Yeah, that's my dad's band. So this time I'm gonna mention 3 of my biggest musical influences that goes way back when I was in late high school and early college. These are all the bands I listened to a lot, and they really expanded my musical taste and helped me get through some hard times, as they say. So first, I'm gonna mention this Japanese musical group called Millie. Their music is a very interesting blend of neoclassical, electronica, and J-rock, and some theatrical style music. Their musical style is really influential to me since they're very unique. Even the lyric writing is very unique. This is a Japanese music group composed of 4 musicians. 2 of the members, Cassie Wei and Yamato Kasai, are the founding members of the band Millie. Cassie Wei is the lead vocalist and the lyricist, and Yamato is the main arranger of the songs. Their music has really caught my attention because of how unique it was. I was really getting into Japanese music at the time. My first impression of this band was a heavily piano-oriented arrangement with rock elements blended into it because of the drummer and the bass, and then with a little bit of guitar. because the song is very dependent on the piano and the string arrangement. So I think you should try and look up the band Millie, and I'll tell you that they're very unique, and because the lyric writing is very weird because of how she delivers the words and writes the words. Well, no wonder it really clicked with me because I'm a pretty weird person. So second, I'm gonna be mentioning this progressive musician whom I think his fan base is locked into one community because his songs are actually a soundtrack of the show RWBY, or Ruby for short, which is a show that I still actively follow mainly because of their music. That's the reason why I'm actually still watching that show. And this musician is called Jeymz. I really got into his musical arrangement because of how great his rock arrangements were, and especially after his third album, that's when he really stepped up his game when it comes to his progressiveness. He started doing a lot more varying stuff. I mean, he was already doing it before with songs that sound a bit like Earth, Wind & Fire, but with a bit of an electronic twist, and there are some jazzy sounding songs, but not just in a sense where it's just a purely jazz song with piano, but there's also from his chords that he uses. He's been already doing those 7 chords that I've been hearing a lot that usually hypnotizes me to love that song, and of course his guitar solos. Would you believe that a keyboardist like me would actually be a fan of a very fast playing guitar player? Because of his playing, that really got me into it. I mean, he also plays the keyboards very well at that. I'm also thinking that he also does the drum arrangements, and maybe he also plays the drums, but it's mainly his guitar that is his forte. I even got teary-eyed a little bit when I listened to some of his songs because of how great his arrangement was and how very artsy it is. And then I shouldn't forget to mention his interpreter, which just so happens to be his daughter, Casey Lee Williams. She's the voice of Jeff Williams' music, and she's also, believe it or not, one of my biggest influences when it comes to singing, because her singing style is what really got me to sing even higher than I usually do, which helped me reach the female range. I've been listening to all the soundtrack CDs since the first one, and I heard Casey's voice development of how her voice truly matured, because she really sounded young in the first album because she was actually 14 years old when she recorded it. So I have to say that Jeff Williams and Casey Williams tandem is awesome. I mean, their music isn't really actually anime-ish. Just give their soundtrack a listen. They're all available on YouTube, and you won't even think that this is from a show that's a bit like an anime because of its anime style. And last but not least, I'm gonna mention the musician that really influenced me in so many ways and really expanded my musical taste. I mean, he's the main reason why I fell in love with metalcore, and to why metalcore is one of my favorite subgenres of metal. This musician I've been listening to a lot when I was in high school. His albums became the soundtrack of my life, as they say. I know there are people that say there are some musicians or artists that they say help them get through hard times in their life. And the hard times of my life were my college years. I listened mainly to his albums. This artist, I've known him through his Vocaloid producer name. I mean, I got really deep into Vocaloid when I was in late high school and early college. I got into it by playing a game called Project Diva. Well, that's when I started finding more Vocaloid music. And this artist's music is what really got me into Vocaloid and expanded my musical genre. This artist is called Yuyo Yupe, or by his real name, he goes by Takehiro Mamiya. He's a music producer that's also transcended the Vocaloid scene and actually wound up making music for Baby Metal. Baby Metal's hit songs were composed and arranged by him. I mean, listen to his Vocaloid music on YouTube, his albums, and listen to Baby Metal. You'd see the resemblance. You'd know that's his arrangement. His music really impacted me and made me dig deeper for more Japanese music. I started listening to a lot more J-rock because of him, and of course, I also started to listen to a lot more metalcore, which led me to be into the band Bring Me the Horizon, Bullet for My Valentine, For All Those Sleeping, etc. Let me explain how his music makes me feel. He's become a really big influence to me when it comes to his arrangements because it's so distinct, and you'll immediately find out that it's him who made that song. It's starting from heavy sounding riffs with a bit of emo feel to it, and then the breakdowns when it comes to the clean guitars. Oh my god, it's so beautiful. It's that one flavor that really got me, which really made him stand out for me. A lot of people that follow him call that a UPism, since he really loves to do that in his songs. And I'm proud to say that Yuyo Yupe, Takehiro Mamiya, is one of my favorite musicians of all time because of how he impacted me and how his music made everything better for me during hard times.
In the last few years, well, since we started SOLABROS in 2016, everybody's struggling already because there's a lot of bands here and there and also a lot of aspirants. But I think we are lucky enough that we were signed by a major label and eventually releases our singles and tour around the Philippines and also some of the Asian places. So I think it is healthy. The band scene is healthy. It's just that you need to know who's the right person to talk with and the right contacts and connections.
Dito lang naman nagmumukhang patay yung rock sa nakikita ko sa Philippines. Kasi ang sinusuportahan syempre ng generation ko, mas younger generation pa, is yung kung ano lang yung naririnig nila sa mainstream music, which is yung more on pop culture music style. Di ko naman sinasabi na hindi artistic yung mga yun. Iba pa rin syempre pag more on band-oriented, hindi computerized yung gumawa ng music. Yung mga artist naman nung 90s is still ongoing pa rin naman. Gumagawa pa rin sila ng album. Lately, yung Dream Theater, nag-release ng bagong album nila, which is yung A View from the Top of the World. 2018 nata yun, nag-release yung Slipknot ng bagong album din nila. Tapos yung isa sa mga kanta doon, which is yung Unsainted, napaka-monumental sa mga Slipknot fans. Umabot ng millions or hundreds of millions of views sa YouTube. Kaya hindi mo rin masasabi na patay na yung rock. Sa radio, hindi pwedeng mawala ang rock music like yung mga Sweet Charlemagne, paminsan-minsan yung Stairway to Heaven, kanta ng Deep Purple, minsan din Smoke on the Water, yung mga Highway Star, tsaka mga AC/DC, yung mga Highway to Hell, Back in Black. Hindi pwedeng mawala yan kasi alam ko na sa bawat puso ng nila lang yun. Hindi pwedeng mawala ang rock sa buhay natin.
I don't know where did she get that lazy word. Because, the government cut our jobs. We don't have gigs. There's no bars. There's no concerts. So, how do they say that we're lazy? It's like a fish who lives in the salt water and then you wanted us to swim and live in the fresh water. It's not like that. I don't know, maybe it's because you're in demand right now because of the pandemic. That's why you're saying this. But you're very wrong. All musicians are not lazy.
Actually, kapag may mga bashers, talagang sinasakyan namin. And kapag may mga very offensive or hindi na masyado nakakatuwa, talagang sinasagot namin because hindi naman namin talagang inaalaw sa channel na kung ano lang sabihin sa amin.
Yes, there is. Actually, there's a lot of times I wanted to give up because of my environment and the people surrounding me, also my family. They just wanted me to have a regular job, which is a non-musician job. God gave me the strength to survive with this career because until now, I'm still a working musician.
Oh, 5 years from now, if God will permit, we would be touring with our favorite bands all over the world. People would be singing our songs that they love so much alongside them. And then we'd be looking at ourselves thinking, oh my God, we've made it. We've become just like them. That's a lot of ambitious bands' biggest desire. I mean, who doesn't want to be playing with the big boys? I mean, Avenged Sevenfold got to play with Metallica. I mean, it's probably like a dream come true for them. Imagine how they felt. Of course, parang isa kami sa magiging representative ng mga Filipino musicians all over the world if that were to happen. So help us God and so help us friends that we make it there. Thank you in advance.
Thank you for supporting us. Thank you sa pagsubaybay sa aming live stream, sa aming mga activities sa YouTube. Hope na hindi po kayo magsawa and mararating din natin ng million of followers and more subscribers sa amin. We always love you, my family and friends, not just fans.
It all started when I joined this band called Perfect Strangers in 2008. During that time, my solo career went down because there's a lot of transition in music in the Philippines. So I cannot just fit in to R&B music and to rock music. So I need to do something about my career. That's why I entered this group called Perfect Strangers and play almost all day, all night. And then after that, in 2009, I formed this group, Dark Orchestra. We also do covers and gathered a lot of songs from Chicago to the latest. And after that, here comes my sons, SOLABROS. In 2016, we gathered a lot of songs again and adopted all the songs that I gathered from the past two bands. And here we are. I don't know what's our genre now. One of the best bands that we would like to cover is Dream Theater, and then followed by Metallica, followed by Stone Temple Pilots, followed by Chicago, and
Rage Against the Machine.
Alice in Chains.
and what?
Something classic rock like Eagles.
Just look at the shirt.
AC/DC, yeah, that's one.
Pantera,
Slayer,
Like a lot of bands.
Iron Maiden.
Black Sabbath,
Black
no?
Sabbath. Ozzy Osbourne,
Yeah,
Testament.
and a lot more.
Yeah.
I don't know who now.
We already wrote a few, pero ano siya, made siya for the Filipino tastes and Filipino audience. Pero gusto namin expand pa into what we envision ourselves as being a versatile band. We want to broaden our horizons and make more progressive sounding music in a way that it's still palatable and have a wide appeal. We really want it to give us a musical challenge, to make us better musicians in a way, to prove ourselves that we're more than just a cover band.
Of course, all of the time we would like to experiment. This is a never-ending process. So I think in our next composition, we will be witnessing the changes, and the musical direction that we're going to show you is a lot more heavier, a lot more artistic, and a lot more metal.
Especially
So
the artistic
expect
part.
that.
Actually, I have an inspiration. No further comments.
Oh, thank you so much for appreciating our talents. We are trying so hard to please everybody. That's why we need to give respect to the artists that we cover and give justice to the songs. Or else don't do it. The biggest word here is respect. When they recorded it like that, you should sound like that. I think we're doing the right direction as you're pleased with our music. Yes, the music of today in the Philippines is somehow influenced by a lot of Korean pop bands like BTS, Blackpink, etc., etc., etc. Well, it's their generation actually. I cannot do something about it. There's this thing called generation gap. If I will just say that I don't like it because I like this kind of stuff, so it's a big conflict. So I think this is a vicious cycle. After a few years, music will come back to its original form. Maybe people will seek for more challenging musicality and more challenging songs and good songwritings. So that's what I can say right now.
This guy.
No. Today I have an inspiration and I hope my brothers have too.
Oh, I'm excited about that. Heavy music, is that our music?
Hindi. Korean kami. Mong obvious naman na heavy metal yung pinaka malapit sa puso namin na genre kasi buhok pa lang namin mahaba na yan, mga influences namin, mga long hairs din. Na nagsiklian na lang ng buhok ngayon, baka nakiuso sa mga bago.
Or age factor?
Or age factor. Yes.
What can I say? Kasi from the very start, nung bago pa lang sila ipanganak, nung pinanganak sila, yun na yung music talaga namin. So, maybe, yun na talaga sila nagsimula at yun na talaga yung foundation ng music na gusto namin. Kasi kanya-kanyang taste din yan. Nire-respect din naman namin yung may taste ng ibang klaseng music. Sa amin kasi, medyo mas more on the yung medyo challenging kind of music. Yung mas showcase yung talent. nakikita talaga yung musicianship and yung pagpupursige ng bawat isang member kung talagang mabibigyan niya ng justice yung bawat instrument na ginagawa niya. Karugtong din to nung isang question kanina. So, as what I have said, they grew up with this music. So, parang easy na lang din sa akin na to guide them kung ano yung right practice na tinatawag natin. Kung gusto talaga nilang maging maayos na musician, kailangan sundin nila yung protocol na masipre nila ng tama yung songs. Hindi man 100% kasi wala naman halos nakakapag 100%. Pero at least dikit dun sa original ng andun man lang sa 95% na kamukha ng ginagawa mong covers. And yun nga, habang lumalaki sila, tinuturo ko yung ganung values na right note, right timing, right placement sa boses. Natutuwa naman ako na dala nila yun. Nakakakanta sila ngayon ng maayos, I can say. And pagdating sa instruments, which is hindi ako nag-i-instrument, nagugulat kayo, nakukuha nila yung mga tugtog na dapat nilang kunin, especially yung mga difficult songs ng Dream Theater. Nagtataka ako kasi parang it really runs in the blood already. I am just a guide, pero parang they were born that way.
We're bonded by blood.
Yes, bonded by blood.
Ibang guitars na sinasabi ay practice, practice, practice. Sa aming term naman is right practice makes perfect. So, katulad ng sinabi ni Dad na kung ano yung naririnig sa recording, yung dapat sundan kasi dun talaga na-hook yung tao na paano yung ginagawa ng note per note. So, ginagawa namin talaga is kung ano talaga naririnig namin sa recording, yan din yung ina-apply namin sa pagtugtog. Kaya nagagulat sila na paano nila namin na copy yung mga solos, ganyan, but mismo, ganun. Because right practice makes perfect.
Or sometimes meron kami mga kinukuha din sa mga live versions ng songs na yan. Pero almost the same lang dito sa recording kasi mas ginagawa namin parang real time kung paano ginawa ng artist yun nang walang overdubbing, di ba? Yeah. Yun talaga yung way, ang proper way para mag-cover ka ng maayos kasi yun na nga unang-una ulit, babalik ako to sa respect na word. Respect the musicians na nag-create nun. Because hindi pwedeng maging ikaw sila. Nakapag-achieve na sila ng napakalaking milestone sa buong mundo, malalaking achievements, malalaking pangalan, malalaking songs. So hindi natin pwedeng i-bastardize yung mga songs nila at gawin natin ating sariling improvisation. Sometimes nangyayari yan. Pang halimbawa, humiram ka ng song sa artist at ni-remake mo on your own version. Ibang usapan yun. Pero pag cover band ka, people are expecting covers na sounds like the original. Dapat siprado talaga.
Our utmost goal is to expand our musical talents and be able to reach an even wider audience that we already have now. It's one of the main goals of every musician that has a dream of making it big. We make it big because we have the guts and the talent to do so.
And also to be able to fulfill our dreams of becoming one of the representatives of the Philippines sa world stage. And of course, tour around the world with our favorite artists and to be rich. Siyempre, everybody needs to have a fuel to go on. Thank you so much, people, for watching our vlog and hope that you can share this with your friends, your family, and of course, please subscribe and follow our contents, our videos, our live streams, etc. See you then. Thank you.
Bye.